Hey, what is going on, guys? Xavier Cotto here, coming back at you again with another upload. Today, we're going to be doing my weekly picks, predictions, stuff like that. This week, we're going to be doing week 12. Um, I'm just going to talk a little bit about these games as I go along. You know, how I think they're going to play out. You know, how good I think these teams are, how they'll play against that team, etc. But before we get into the video, if you like weekly picks, power rankings, if you like film analysis on teams, players, offensive linemen, stuff like that, I'm your guy. Subscribe to my channel. I post weekly, almost daily, about 4 or 5 uploads a week. Plenty of content. You know, if you like the NFL, if you like seeing content, like I said, I'm your guy. Give me a subscribe. Give me a chance. But without further ado, let's get right into this video here. First game we're going to have is going to be Ravens Steelers. I'm going to take the Steelers. Now, this game earlier in the season, this looked like it was in the Ravens' favor. The Ravens completely outplayed the Steelers, in my opinion, on offense and defense. They completely shut the Steelers down on offense. And then whenever Lamar Jackson was running the show, he completely blew them out. He had like 500 total yards or something like that. They were just cooking the Steelers. But what really killed them was execution. 4 turnovers. 4 turnovers is going to destroy a team. But if we're talking about that first matchup, Ravens definitely killed the Steelers. Now, that being said, Tomlinson's a Hall of Fame coach. The guy's a multi-time Pro Bowl or a multi-time Super Bowl winner. He's going to adjust. He's not going to let the Ravens come down 500 yards. That's not going to happen again. This is going to be a better play game. I think the Ravens will play cleaner. I don't think we'll see 4 turnovers, but I do think that the Steelers are going to tighten up their play. They're going to look at what they did wrong. They're going to adjust, and they're going to play a lot better. So on both sides, I think they're going to clean their play up. But whenever both sides do play clean, I think the Steelers are a better team. They're better overall. The Ravens' offensive line is really struggling, and this Steelers' defensive line is nasty. Is no short of the word nasty. T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Bud Dupree. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody's name, but I mean they're destructive. Every game I've watched from them, they're just absolutely disrupting everything about their offense. The Steelers team's on a roll. I don't know who's going to beat them. Chargers, Bills. Give me the Bills. I like the Chargers, and they haven't lost a game that hasn't been 8 points or less. So every game they've lost has been at least one score. And only one of them games have been 8 points. The rest have been 7 or less. So if that tells you anything, Chargers fans are heartbroken. They've had so many opportunities to play well this year, and so many opportunities to win. They just came up short game after game after game. Even the Jets last week was, for some reason, a nail biter. Make that make sense to me. But still, yet the Chargers are probably a year off from being, dangerous. After this year, I think next year the Chargers will be a lot better team after they get drafted. They make a few plays in the free agency. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Melvin Ingram along with Joey Bosa. I think Melvin Ingram walks after this year, which is going to be unfortunate. He's really talented. And having him, Joey Bosa, and Linval Joseph on that defensive line is destructive. That is a great 3 people on that 4-3. But what they could really use help in right now is probably their linebacker core. They'll have Derwin James back after this year, so that's going to be really good. That's something to look forward to. And they're missing Joey Bosa as it is right now. So the Chargers aren't doing anything this year. It don't matter if they win out. They're not doing anything. Their season's done. But the Bills, on the other hand, are really talented. Great quarterback. Offensive line play has been very much improved since last year. They're missing Kyle Williams right now, but Ed Oliver's sort of coming around. He's not as good as he should be. He's in no way, shape, or form as good as he should be, but they've got other pass rushers over there that are very talented. A.J. Espinosa. And they got a really good secondary too. Tre'Davious White, they got talent. This Bills team has talent. The defense just hasn't been what it was last year or the year before at all, and that's unfortunate. But I think once the playoffs roll around, that'll be a different story. I think they'll be able to tighten up a little bit. But still, yet Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, that offense is good. Them 2 people alone make that offense great. And I think the Bills definitely take this one easily. Titans, Colts. Give me the Colts. I'm a Colts fan, just as a disclaimer, but I'm not trying to be a homer here. I think the Colts are just a better team. The Titans' defense is horrendous. They can't do anything. And And I'm going to be honest with you, they got outplayed against the Ravens. The Ravens have lost a few games where they have just completely outplayed their opponent, and this was one of them. They were up 21-10. They let it slip away. That was just, I don't know what happened. I don't know. And the Titans are not good defensively, but they were good enough to limit Lamar Jackson. So, take that with a grain of salt. I don't think they're that good. I think Lamar Jackson's very talented, but it's just kind of him and Mark Andrews versus the world. Hollywood Brown is, in my opinion, very overrated. The rest of the receiving corps is very bad. They went and picked up Dez Bryant, I believe, right, Dez Bryant, and he's like 31 or something. There's no reason for that pickup. That's just a hype thing. They're missing like 4 of their starting offensive linemen. Like that Raven squad is like depleted right now. And it's Lamar Jackson. And like I said, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews versus the world. That's really what it is. But not to discredit the Titans. They're very talented. Don't get me wrong. So Titans fans, if you're listening, don't hate me. Don't hate me. The Titans are a talented squad. I'm a Colts fan, like I said. I could hate on your team right now. We've been beating you all for years. But you all are a talented squad. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill is a great duo. Definitely a much better duo than Phillip Rivers, Hines, Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor. I can say that for a fact. But how good are they whenever they're limited because of our defense? Because our defense did limit you guys in that second half. When the Colts, weren't turning the ball over, weren't playing poorly, like they were in the first half, it was a different story in the second half. The defense came out, they made their adjustments, they shut you all down, end of story. But you all got valuable. This could be a close game. The way I'm explaining it, it could be a close game. I know this matchup really well. I think it could be a close game. But if their offense plays as poor as they did in the second half to start this game, you all lose. If the Colts get up early, you all lose. There's no way you come back. So hopefully for you guys, if the Titans can play well at the start, they will win this game. Possibly. Browns, Jaguars. Give me the Browns, 100%. Jaguars, they played well against the Steelers. That was really surprising. They also played well against the Packers. Or they didn't play well against the Steelers. They played well against the Packers, I should say. The Jaguars are probably one of the best, worst teams in the league, if you know what I'm saying. Like they're not. They could be like a spoiler team almost. They did for the Colts. The Colts are in a really predicament right now in the AFC South or a really bad predicament because of the Jaguars' first game of the year. That game was an incredibly fluke if anyone even remotely knows the NFL currently, but that was just it's put the Colts in a tough spot because now they've had to – we were thinking it was Titans, Packers, Titans, 3 games in a row, and the Colts were like, all right, if we can win two of 3 of these games, we're good. That's all we had to do. Now it's looking like we're going to win all 3. Colts are really coming along. Phillip Rivers coming along. So the Jaguars have really hampered the Colts, but the Browns will win this one pretty convincingly, in my opinion. Their offensive line is too good. They are the best offensive line in this league. I'm a Colts fan. They are the best offensive line in the league. Wyatt Teller, J.C. Treader, Joel Bitonio, Jedrick Willis, Jack Conklin. That offensive line is elite. Now, that being said, it's like 1A, 1B. Because we match up really well. Like, we got a Quentin Nelson for their Wyatt Teller. We got a Ryan Kelly for their Joel Bitonio, We got a Mark Glowinski for their we got a Ryan Kelly for their J.C. Treader, I should say, and a Mark Glowinski for their Joel Bitonio. Like, we got talent too, but these are hands down the 2 best offensive lines in the league by a mile, and it's not close. Dolphins, Jets. Give me the Dolphins. Dolphins looked really pedestrian last week against the Broncos. I don't know how that happens because they're a really talented squad or really well coached. They're not a talented squad, I should say. That's what's really hampering them, I believe, is just the fact that they are missing talent. They do not have a lot of talent. Their offensive line's bad. Their defensive line as a whole is pretty bad. They're missing Christian Wilkins, and I think that was really what really hurt them because he was dearly missed on the interior of that defensive line that game. But they're still yet. Brian Flores is one of the best coaches in the league. He's emerging as one of the best coaches, and they can play well. But I think there's a lot of NFC teams that are overrated. A lot of them. And they beat the Cardinals. They beat the Rams. Yada, yada, yada. I think they're overrated. I think The Bucks are overrated. I think there's just a lot of names on these teams that are letting these teams get by. And it's kind of showing through. The Dolphins losing to teams like that. They don't look as good, and they look better against other teams. I think there's a lot of overrated. The distributive factor doesn't work in the NFL that well, but from what I've seen, I think a few of these teams that people are putting high up on their list are pretty overrated. But let's get on. That's a no-brainer. Jets are probably going to lose out the rest of the season. Texans Lions. Give me the Texans. Texans looked like beasts, and not really the Texans, but more of Deshaun Watson. I can also say that their run defense looked really good. That's a plus for them. They're going to need it against the Colts, but to be fair, they were playing against a depleted offensive line of the Patriots, so the Patriots really don't have that good of an offensive line. There's been a few people that they rave about, but I've watched film. I've watched film on Isaiah Wynn. I'm actually going to drop a video this week of him. He's not super impressive. He's not crazy. PFF has him at like an 84 PFF rank. And they have Braden Smith at like a 75. If anyone tried to tell me that he was better than Braden Smith, I would laugh in your face. And that's just how it is. PFF ranks aren't don't always tell the true story. And with Isaiah Wynn, that is a definite factor because he is 6'2". He does not play, and his height comes into play at that tackle position a lot. J.J. Watt and a lot of people were just taking his edge. He wasn't tall enough, wasn't fast enough, couldn't move fast enough to get back, guard that edge. I don't think he's that good. But then again, I digress. He is talented. He's just not a tackle. He is a guard. I should say that. But I think the Texans definitely win this game. Giants, Bengals. Give me the Giants. Bengals, no Joe Burrow. That's a bad time. That's terrible. It's unfortunate what happened to him. I hate that, but that was a verdict that a lot of people knew was going to happen. That offensive line's pretty bad, to say the least. They have one person, Jonah Williams. That's it. The rest of them, last year they had the literal worst guard play in the league. Both of their guards were bottom 6 guards in the league. That's not like I'm not even joking. They were bottom 6, and for good reason. They were terrible. They still got one of them starting. They got another guy that was like a 7th round pick. He's bad. Go figure, like their just offensive line is just it's just struggling. It's struggling, and with the backup quarterback in, I would be highly surprised if they even score against that Giants defense that is absolutely humming right now. They played great in their last games. They showed me a lot. They showed me a lot against the Buccaneers. Even though they lost, they showed me a lot. They showed me that they can compete with great offenses in this league, or good offenses, I should say. The Buccaneers' offense hasn't looked great yet, to me at least, unless we're talking about the Packers game, who have one of the worst defenses in the league, and the Colts really took advantage of them. So, take that, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. The Buccaneers' offense isn't that good. It's not Super Bowl good, I should say that. I don't think they're contenders. But the Giants did show me something against them, so I got to give them some respect, and I think they win this game pretty handily. Raiders, Falcons. Give me the Raiders. The Raiders have one of the best offenses in the league. And I say that because they're efficient. Third down, they lead all teams in the league in third down efficiency. They convert over 52% of the time. Their offensive line's good. They're missing Richie Incognito, but they have like $60 million in cap space in their offensive line, so they're still going to perform. They're still talented. They get a push. That's one of the things about this offense that really makes it work. Derek Carr is playing the best football of his life at this moment. Josh Jacobs is a super quality running back. They can hand him the ball 30 times. He's going to get 120 yards and secure them a win. We saw it a couple weeks ago. He's talented. Their offense is very talented. The only downfall of this team is their defense. It is horrendous. Max Crosby is incredibly overrated. His pass rush win rate's terrible. So, that's what they look to. Whenever you talk to the Raiders, they're like, oh, we got Max Crosby. He's so good. He's really not that good of an edge rusher. He can set the edge. He can play the run pretty well, but he's not a good pass rusher. He has all these sacks. They're empty. They're 4 or 5 second sacks, and they're against bad teams. When he plays against good offensive lines, he does nothing. The Raiders also don't have a very good coverage, so their pass rush to coverage duo is just bad. It's one of the worst in the leagues, and that's really not a good. That's not a recipe for success in the NFL. And I think when the Raiders play the Colts, they're going to get exposed. Their offense is going to be limited because of the Colts, great defense, and then the Colts offense will be able to just move the ball efficiently, like they've done all year. Um, their offense hasn't been bad. They've been sort of poor on third down, but other than that, like they've been middle of the pack. Now they're like top. Now they're like number 12. They were number 15 going into the game against the Packers, and they put 450 yards up. I think they're number 12 now, so that's something to look out for. Cardinals, Patriots. Give me the Cardinals. Patriots looked pretty bad against the Texans. They can't stop anything. They couldn't stop the pass. I guess the run really wasn't there for the Texans, but they didn't need it to be. Deshaun Watson could have threw for like 400 yards, 450 that game if he wanted to. But they didn't have to. They were already up. So I got to take the Cardinals. The Cardinals have that improved offensive line. DJ Humphries at left tackle, manning it down. He's doing a really good job this year. They got probably one of the best quarterback receiver duos in the league. Even though I think Kyler Murray is highly overrated in the pass game. People are giving him a lot more credit than he deserves. He's not an elite passer in any way, shape, or form. What makes him great is the fact that he has 4.4 speed, like a Lamar Jackson, Michael Vick kind of speed playmaker kind of guy. He's like that. And then his arm's a little bit is pretty good. So it's good enough to get away with having DeAndre Hopkins on your team. You're going to get some yards. But he's not the best decision maker. He's not the best passer. And that could come back to bite him in this game versus the Patriots because, they got J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore. They got a lot of talent on in that Patriots secondary. We'll see. This could be a trap game for the Cardinals right here. But I still think the Cardinals win this. They look pretty good this season. I think they're overrated. A lot of people are freaking out like, oh, the Cardinals are contenders. Nah, man. they're in no way, shape, or form contenders. Neither are the Seahawks, in my opinion, who people keep trying to, oh, the Seahawks are this and that. They're not. They're not, in my opinion. They haven't showed me anything that makes me think they are. Saints, Broncos, give me the Saints. Saints are coming along. And the fact that they held the Falcons to 9 points, that's miraculous. I did not see that coming. Their defense is really humming now. They're playing so much better. At the start of the year, their defense looked like a question mark. Like, what is wrong with them? Now they're putting that to rest. Their defense is starting to look good. They're starting to tighten up in perfect timing. They're getting into that playoff mode. They're showing that Sean Payton discipline. They're starting to look good. And I think against this Broncos squad, this is going to be a pretty easy dub for them. This isn't a trap game. Like, I don't think Drew Lock's going to be able to play good enough against the Saints to keep them anywhere near competitive in this game. And yeah, I just think the Saints take this one pretty easy. Chiefs, Buccaneers. Give me the Chiefs. Now, this game is going to be a good one. Now, how good will it be depends on how well Tom Brady can play against this Chiefs defense, who has been better since last year, but last year wasn't like their defense was great. And their defense isn't great this year either. They just got talent. They got Tyrann Mathieu. They're decently coached. They're not anything spectacular, and you see how the Raiders just efficiently moved the ball the whole game. They were doing anything they wanted against the Chiefs. If you let the Raiders do that, who have been shut down this year a couple times, then your defense isn't great. And, Tom Brady against great defenses this year has struggled mightily. Like, you think of every team they've played that has whooped up on them have a great defense. The Saints, they showed it. The Giants lost that game, but they made them look poorly, like I said earlier. The Buccaneers, Tom Brady's 43, man. Like, he's 43. And you just saw last night the Rams just absolutely manhandled this Buccaneers offense. Like, it was like whenever the Rams needed to score, they scored. Like, there were so many drives at the end of the game. They kept giving Tom Brady a chance, kept giving Tom Brady a chance, because Sean McVay knew they could stop them. Sean McVay didn't have to do anything spectacular, and they still won that game, which is mind-boggling. I thought Sean McVay was going to have to scheme up some crazy, insane kind of game plan to win this, and he didn't. He just played his defense. They were wreaking havoc. That offensive line for the Bucs, very overrated. They were getting demolished. They were missing Ali Marpet, who is a big guy on that offensive line, so that could be an issue. But I just don't think the Bucs are who people act like they are. I don't think they are. And I think the Chiefs take this one maybe by 10 or 20. Football team, Cowboys. This is a tough one. Cowboys do have Andy Dalton back, so I'm going to have to give it to them. But the football team's defense is good. Like, they have Montrezl Sweat. They got Matthew Ioannidis. They got Chase Young. Like, they got a lot of talent on that defensive front. A lot of talent. And they were really killing the Bengals. Like, the Bengals, even if Joe Burrow stayed in that game, I don't think they win it. Like, he got injured. That's unfortunate. Not trying to knock Joe Burrow, but the defense for Washington is really talented. Unfortunate their quarterback situation is as bad as it is, even though Alex Smith has really been a gunslinger the last few weeks. Love to see that. Alex Smith come back to be just an absolute desperado out there, man. But it's fun seeing that. But I think the Cowboys are just a better team with a better receiving core, better offense. Their defense is very poor, and that could be a big issue because the football teams isn't. And if the football team can limit the Cowboys offensively, then they might have a chance. Alex Smith might have a chance to keep them in this game with his arm just by the way he's played the last few weeks. But I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to take the Cowboys. They looked really good against the Vikings. It's really surprising they won that game because I thought the Vikings were going to win that just by how they played, how they beat Green Bay. But good on the Cowboys for being able to come back. Andy Dalton making that start, really being the difference in that game. And I think he's going to be the difference in this game too. Panthers, Vikings. Give me the Vikings. I like the Panthers. Don't get me wrong. And they pitched a shutout against, who was it? The Lions. They pitched a shutout against the Lions. That's impressive. That is impressive. But still yet, the Vikings aren't the Lions. The Vikings have consistency on offense. They can run the ball on you, and they probably will run the ball on them because their front seven isn't, spectacular stopping the run. They got Derek Brown. They got, a guy they drafted there, but Derek Brown hasn't looked all that impressive to me this year, just in all honesty. And I'm a big Derek Brown fan. I thought he was a great player at Auburn. I was really an advocate for him being drafted early. So it's unfortunate to see that. I think he's just going to need another year. I think the whole COVID situation kind of messed up him. He's been playing better as of late, but at the start of this year, he was just very poor. And no one really talks about him because of that. But I'm still going to take this Vikings squad. Dalvin Cook's the best running back in football, and I think he's going to show it against the Panthers, who are a young, brimming with potential defense, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat this Viking squad this week. 49ers, Rams. Rams, obviously. Rams are coming off the most impressive win they've had all season, and just the fashion they did it. Tom Brady got absolutely manhandled, man. Tom Brady was just pissed after that game. He didn't even shake hands with Jared Goff. He wouldn't shake hands, and it was just because he was just getting beat up the whole game, and he threw some awful picks. He threw a awful pick, just a absolute quacker. Not even near his receiver. He was running a post route, and he just let it fly. And the safety didn't even have to move in the middle of the field. He just stood there, and the ball landed right at him. I don't know, dude. Tom Brady at 43 just does not look like the guy the Buccaneers need. I feel like Jameis Winston would, with this team that the Buccaneers have right now, would just be eating teams. He just got LASIK. I would have kept him around just for one more year just to see what he had, but I guess picking Tom Brady up was too enticing. But I still think, like I said, I don't think this Buccaneers squad is a contender. I don't think it. And until he shows me something different against a good defense, I'm not going to change my mind on that. But I still am going to take the Rams. 49ers, they got Shanahan over there. They might be able to work some magic, but no George Kittle. Everyone on defense is injured. I can't take this team over the Rams. The Rams have looked too impressive as of late. Bears, Packers. Give me the Packers. Bears have one of the best defenses in the league, maybe the best. And that's a strong maybe. They might actually, I would err on them having the best defense in the league before I would the Steelers or the Colts. And And that's just a personnel thing. Chuck Pagano's got their defense coached up incredibly well. Um, they got the personnel. They got the Keem Hicks. They got the Khalil Mack. They got the uh, Will Fuller. They got the Eddie Jackson. They got so much talent. They got the Roquan Smith. They got the Danny Trevathan. They got the Robert Quinn. Like, their defense is insane. It is incredible how good their defense is. Yet they still cannot win. And it is because of their offense. And on the other side of the ball, they have maybe the worst offense in the league. As of the last 2 weeks, their offense has been worse than the Jets. I don't think anyone would argue that. Joe Flacco's Jets has looked better than the Chicago Bears, who have a guy like Allen Robertson and Cole Kmet, an older Jimmy Graham, but he's still Jimmy Graham and 6'8" and playing the tight end position. Nick Foles is just incredibly overrated. Incredibly overrated. He won a Super Bowl with what may be the best roster in the last 20 years. 4 Hall of Fame offensive linemen with the Eagles in 2017. 2 Hall of Fame defensive linemen. Like, that Eagles squad was incredible in 2017. And I think that earned Nick Foles a starting job that he didn't deserve. I think Mitchell Trubisky made that offense a lot better than he is. And so that makes me question Nagy, and I don't think he'll keep his job at the Bears. I don't think that happens. I think he's gone after this season, and I think they hire someone else new to be that head coach. Keep Chuck Pagano. Keep that defense that's going to be really good for probably another 2 or 3 years just by their personnel. But I'm still going to take the Packers. Packers just came off playing one of the best defenses in the league. They're about to play them again, but if they turn the ball over again, this game could be close, but I don't think it happens. I don't think the Bears' offense is anywhere good enough to keep up with the Packers in any way, shape, or form. So I'm giving it to the Packers. Seahawks, Eagles. Give me Seahawks. I keep wanting to bet on the Eagles because they now have Lane Johnson back. They still got Jason Kelce, and now they got Jason Peters. Now, to be fair, Jason Kelce, I would not be surprised if he retired after this season. He was part of the all-decade team as a center. He's a beast. Jason Kelce needs no introduction for how good he has been in his career. He is one of the most talented centers to ever strap pads on, ever put a helmet on his head. But still yet, it pains me to say it, but he just doesn't look good this year. He don't. Jason Peters is the same way, one of the most talented tackles to ever put the pads on, ever put a helmet on his head. He doesn't look good this year. And it's really unfortunate because they're like 2 of the people I know growing up that have just been so talented their whole careers. And now it's coming to an end. It's like, man, I'm getting old or something, But still yet, the Seahawks squad is going to tear the Eagles defense a new one. It is not going to be close in my opinion. Carson Wentz is just, there's not a magical regression of Carson Wentz. He's still the same player he has been his whole career. And people like to say, oh, he's terrible. He's really not. He's just trying to press too much. He's having that Phillip Rivers effect. Like Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Phillip Rivers has a bunch of empty interceptions, meaning like whenever he's trying to win, he'll throw a pick. And he'll be down 14 points, he'll throw 2 picks in a game where he's down 14 just trying to come back. That's an empty interception. In the fourth quarter, it's an empty interception. That's what Carson Wentz has. And I'm not trying to be a Carson Wentz apologist. I know he hasn't been the best this year, but still, yeah, like people are trying to act like he is just garbage. He should be benched. Carson Wentz has played at an elite level his whole career. And this year, when everyone gets injured and Doug Peterson is finally getting exposed for being the garbage coach he is, he's just getting tossed around like he's trash. I wish the Eagles would release Carson Wentz. I wish they would, because the Colts are going to pick him up. He's going to be reunited with Frank Reich, and he's going to be tearing teams an absolute new one on the Colts. I wish the Eagles would release Carson Wentz. I'd take him in a heartbeat. But that's it. I'm done with the video today. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think the Steelers win this game convincingly? I remember the last time it was 28-24. Do you think the Colts win this one? Let me know about these close games. I mean, some of these games are no-brainers, in my opinion, but some of them are going to be incredibly close, and, they're really good matchups on paper. This is a good matchup on paper, but I don't think it's going to be close. But that's all I got for you guys today. If you like the content, if you like the picks, if you like the offensive lineman film analysis, If you like film analysis in general, drop a like, drop a subscribe. I post stuff like that every week. I almost daily uploads, about 4 or 5 uploads a week. I've stayed pretty consistent with the uploads. But like I said, if you like the content, drop a like, drop a subscribe. But until next time, guys, peace.